With interest rates going up and more supply of properties into the market with very few buyers, what tends to happen is property prices tend to go down. And if that happens, some landlords may find themselves in a situation called negative equity. So in this video, I want to discuss with you what is negative equity, how do you know if you're in negative equity, and should you be worried? Before we get into it, you see that subscribe button? Just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. So if you bought a home for £200,000 with a 10% deposit, so the lender lent you 180k and you put down £20,000. Now, if the market was to dip a little bit and your property was worth now less than the £180,000, you are in negative equity. The last time there was a massive crash in the UK was when property prices dipped by 15 to 20%, and this was between 2007 to 2009, and then it took a couple of years where the property prices of course took back up again and recovered. So if you were in negative equity then, you then recovered after a few years because your property prices just went up again. So how do you find out if you are in negative equity? The first thing you have to do is find out the balance from your mortgage statements or get in touch with your lender to find out the balance, how much you still owe to the lender. The second thing you gotta do is that you could get 3 estate agents to come and view your property, to give you a valuation and tell you what they think your property is worth on the open market, how much you could get for it. If you don't want to do that, you could even pay for a lender's valuation to know what it could be worth. Now, when you have that, if that valuation report that you get is worth less than what you owe to the lender, then you are in negative equity. Now, if you have found out you are in negative equity, you don't need to worry about that if you're not looking to sell your property, because house prices will always tend to go up over time. There is massive shortage of housing in the UK, and there are other driving forces as well that keep driving the property prices to go up over time. So if you're in negative equity, don't worry about it at all if you're not looking to sell the property. Around 1950s, you would find an average house in London for £2,500 at that time, whereas today, you can't find anything less than £400,000. So if you're in negative equity, don't worry about that because property prices will tend to go up over time. Now, if you are worried about it and you can't sleep at night, then you could just essentially start paying back the amount that you owe. Make more payments every month to start gaining more equity in the property, essentially bringing your loan amount down. Now, the question arises, what should I do if I am in negative equity and I want to sell my property? Now, really, you want to use that as last resort to sell your property that is in negative equity. But you can speak to your lender and they will come up with terms and agreements with you that you will pay off the shortfall to them. Most mortgage lenders will allow you to sell off your property and then pay back the negative equity, whatever the shortfall is, in a period of time. Now, it can become a bit costly because you will have charges to pay, but when you do get in touch with your lender, they will explain you how it works and they will give you a payment plan. They won't expect you to pay it right away. Maybe some lenders do, but generally, on average, they will set up a payment plan for you and expect you to pay the payment over a period of time. So if you do decide you want to pay off your negative equity, what you could also perhaps do is communicate with your lender, asking them to take off your negative equity and use that as a mortgage onto your new home. So essentially you have a higher mortgage on your new home. So you could do that, or you could maybe get a loan from your bank, a building society. Now these, of course, the interest rates will be much higher because these are unsecured loans, but you could use that loan and pay off that lender and have that chapter closed, but you have a loan with your building society now. But really the best thing you could do is just wait it out, because if you wait it out, property prices are just gonna go up over time anyway. Over the pandemic, property prices just shot up in a lot of areas. In Wales, property prices just over 2 years went up by 27% just in 2 years. So even if your property price was to go down in value by 15%, it's still okay. You're not in negative equity because you just built up all that equity over the pandemic. So essentially, there will be very few cases impacted by the current interest rates and the mortgage terms. They will be finding themselves in this situation called negative equity. Places like London, maybe, yes, you will find some landlords with negative equity there because perhaps over COVID, there wasn't much gains that they had, and now maybe with property prices going down, they would find themselves in negative equity. So perhaps, yes, there will be a few, but there won't be too many impacted by the current interest rates and what's happening in the current market. So I hope this video has given you an insight on what negative equity is, how you would know if you're in negative equity, and what to do if you find yourself in negative equity. If you have enjoyed this content, please smash the like button. I would really appreciate that. I'll see you in the next video.